better. I don't know if the audio is coming through. Okay, thanks, Karen. All right, perfect. Okay, well, welcome everybody. We'll get going on our next session. And you were supposed to hear from Ashley Kozak on sustaining your energy, boosting your immunity, and nourishing your body with one simple snack. She couldn't make it today, so I have to step in. So we're going to keep on the same theme of boosting your immunity, nourishing your energy, and we're going to talk about the greatest delivery system of any herb that you want. Yeah, and it's so simple. It's super easy, and we'll have lots to taste and lots to sample. So thank you for being here. My name is Malcolm Saunders, and really enjoy these open house events. So thank you for being here. It's kind of a come and go, take in whatever you want, whatever you like, and it's been a variety show. Some of you have been here since the beginning, taking it all in. Everything will be recorded, and we'll be posting it online afterwards in case you've missed it. And yeah, moving right along, we'll get into the greatest delivery system for any herb. Can anybody guess what I might be alluding to? Okay, tinctures, we got tinctures, we got tinctures. What else we got? Oh, we got honey over there. We got compliance. And what are you saying? Gynostemma, yeah, okay, lots of great answers. Yeah, Donna's, she's leaning on something there. There's that saying, the herbs don't work unless you take them. So yes, compliance is key. So what's the ultimate thing that anybody, oh, well, we can't say 100%, but 99.8% of people go, oh, sure. Oh, chocolate, we're getting closer. Krista actually said it, it's honey. Yes, it's the wisdom of Mary Poppins. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So we're going to look at, cultures all around the world that have actually utilized honey as a delivery system. We can actually get into honey as an extractive method. That's one way you can look at it, but we're actually just going to put stuff into the honey versus trying to extract from it. You can make all kinds of herbal honeys. And this is taking ingredients that you have, and there's no recipe and there's no specifics. It's literally put herbs in honey and then take the herbal honey for whatever you feel like. So my kind of key to alchemy, all the things I teach about in all my classes, whether it's elixir crafting or chocolate, kind of the main premise that I'm looking for, that you can approach any of your formulas. You can think about flavor, right? Flavor is a good one. And the reason we're going to use honey is because most people, myself included, I love honey. I love sweet flavor. And there are certain herbs like andrographis or neem, bitter neem. You've ever heard of neem before? Andrographis, it's literally some of the most bitter herbs on the planet. I think we need a volunteer to somebody to taste these herbs and tell us how bitter it is. Janet, would you like to? Sure, all right, she's gonna do it. And we'll definitely take our time getting into the properties, the benefits of these herbs, but that's not so much the point. The point is whatever herbs you are working with, this is a delivery system for it. Well, that's even a lot right there. Well, we'll go easy on you here. And I better do this too. I can't just like have somebody come up and get their mouth all bitter. So andrographis, this is incredible antiviral and very good for colds and flus. We had one of our staff here, Nicole. Okay, I gotta do it with you. Yeah, all right. Come on to the camera. Let's see your face.
Oh yeah.
So literally one of the most bitter herbs on the planet. You're taking it quite well. Oh, there it is.
Bitter.
That's pretty bad.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bad.
Whoa.
It's all over my lips and stuff.
Uh-oh. Yeah. We'll do it before and after.
Where's the honey?
Where's the honey? Quick. But of course, bitter is medicine, isn't it? And we can definitely It's kind of mellowing out, right?
Yeah, it's mellow.
Yeah, so we can, we can build our tolerance to these different flavors. But a little honey does help it go down.
Like,
There we are. I'll sweeten you up there.
thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Janet, being our our test subject. But it's powerful. I did a couple of months ago, I did a video with one of our staff, Nicole, who, you know how it is, right? Like whether it's the office or whether it's the house and people are coming down, succumbing. And she had heard about andrographis. She's like, well, I better try this, and she took about a teaspoon. So maybe 5 or 6 times, what we had. And instantly just started like nose was running. She was blowing her nose and just like started coming out of every orifice. And then she felt amazing. She did not get sick. So it's a powerful herb, but I get it. Not everybody is as brave as you to take on andrographis in that way. And of course, there are tinctures where we can put these things into alcohol. That makes it nice and easy delivery system. But again, honey's even better if you feel so inclined, because honey itself, even honey, is a medicine. It's a superfood. Denis wanted me to share this here. So we've got the Herbal Antibiotics book. This is written by my favorite herbalist, my herbal hero, Stephen Herod Buhner. He wrote the Herbal Antibiotics. He wrote the book, The Herbal Antivirals. And this is kind of touching upon this next F. So our 3 Fs for the alchemy, what is going to steer you one way or another in creating your herbal honey is you want to think about flavor. You want to think about function, right? And that function could be literally, tickle in the throat, got to hit it with something, antibiotics, antivirals, this type of thing. Honey, even just by itself, great flavor, good function in that regard. So here he says, herbal actions of honey. Potent antibiotic against all known forms of resistant bacteria that infect the skin and wounds. In addition, is anti-allergenic, anti-anemic, anti-carcinogenic, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, antiviral. It's an expectorant, so it helps bring things up. Denis always says, when you take an expectorant, expect to expectorate. It's going to start dislodging things, bringing it out. Immune stimulant. Laxative. I didn't know about that, honey. That's not been my experience, but anyways, okay. Listed as a laxative, as a tonic. Promotes healing of wounds. It can moisten wounds. Great for peptic ulcers. Bacterial gastroenteritis. Reduces plaque. Good for gingivitis. Oh, they don't tell you about that, do you? Honey's always, or sugar, right? Bad for the teeth. Good for gingivitis. Facilitates debridement. That's a term I don't know. I assume that's not matrimonially debridement, but what would you say that is, Leanne? Oh, okay. Okay, amazing. So the comment was a vet using honey topically, and we'll get into that. Herbal honeys can be used internally or externally, but really good for pets, right? You put something on their wound and they're going to want to kind of lick it off. But if it's honey, it's natural in that regard and will help with the healing. Help stimulate skin and muscle regeneration. He's got all these different lists of bacteria that it is effective against. And that's just kind of its herbal actions, nutritive wise. It's incredible as well. So debridement, what is that, Donna? Thank you.
The removal of damaged tissue and foreign objects from the wound.
Okay, the removal of damaged tissue and foreign objects from a wound. All right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Put a splinter on, or again, dead skin, any kind of debris. Honey is the ultimate wound healer. What an incredible food. So that's going to play center stage here with our recipes as we get going. Man, that andrograph is just lingering. It's still lingering. Wow. Holy. All right. So like I mentioned, so many cultures around the world have used this method of herbal delivery system. Honey is one of the most cherished food substances of all cultures, and it's the most natural sweetener that exists in nature. Concentrated form of sweetness, primarily glucose, fructose, and gosh, hundreds of other compounds. In fact, I don't know how many compounds, it's a couple hundred. And then they say, okay, well, then there's about 2% identified compounds, and there's at least 2% or more, 3 to 4% unidentified compounds. We don't even know what it is. Absolute pure magic. And of course, when it comes to honey, the flower source plays a role. So depending on what flower the bee has gone to gather that nectar, they bring it back to the hive, and then they fan it to the exact right moisture percentage that perfectly preserves it forever. So you can have honey, I'm sure you've heard this idea of honey being discovered in tombs, like perfectly good, perfectly preserves itself. No other food does that. As soon as you pull a carrot, right, begins to degrade, begins to lose nutrition. Apple off of a tree, even ferments, in that sense. Honey is the food that will perfectly preserve itself. And depending on the flower source, there's a vast array of different medicine that can come through depending on where it's been gathered. That's why we know about Manuka honey. People say, oh, Manuka honey, it's so good, it's so medicinal. Sure, it is, but so is every other honey, right? And I don't want to put down Manuka honey. I want to elevate every other honey. It's amazing too. And bees are drawn to flowers, in particular wildflowers that are very medicinal. So I like wildflower honey. You can get specific varietals of honey. I lived in Bonester in the flood, and I lost this book in the flood, but it was like a record of, I don't know, more than a decade of like all the honeys I'd ever tasted. Yeah, I can remember a lot of them, but Greek honey, that's like full of thyme flowers or blueberry or lavender or buckwheat. I mean, there's a lot of common ones, but there was some really exotic ones in there. And each honey, depending on its flower source, will have a different color and a different flavor and a different medicine to it, even though they're still all honeys and still have very similar properties. So flower source is really key in terms of the selection. We often get asked, why don't we carry Alberta honey? And we do some honeys, local honeys. Eastern Slopes, unfortunately, they went out of business, right, Alex? They decided to shut down. Yeah. Anyways, they're amazing because they were right, as the name suggests, right on the eastern slopes of the Rockies, away from industrial agriculture. And unfortunately, for better or worse, Alberta has so much industrial agriculture, things like GMO canola. I'm not so stoked about honey from GMO canola, right? Like, call me, whatever. So I prefer the wildflower sources. And so I'm very selective on where I get it. Next, number one is I want it to be unpasteurized, not heated. Now, I'll clarify that. Some heat is okay, right? You can heat your honey, especially as honey sits, it will naturally begin to crystallize. We can almost see at the bottom of that jar, it is beginning to crystallize. And it is primarily the glucose molecules that begin to crystallize first. The fructose will remain liquefied. But that's just the natural order of honey as it sits, how it preserves itself. Now you can get creamed honeys where they've intentionally added in a seed, what they call seed cream. And then as that is mixed, then all the honey begins to form in that very particular crystallization, which is amazing. Has this nice smooth texture to our palate. Creamed honey is awesome, but you need a seed starter to cream it, to crystallize it in that way. Otherwise, it'll just kind of naturally crystallize. Nothing wrong with it. You can add a little bit of heat to kind of re-liquefy it, but it is said that above hive temperature, you begin to lose much of the medicinal compounds. Now, if we think about hive temperature, that's actually pretty hot because honey, you can find bees all around the world, right? And let's even think in our own backyard, right? Middle of the prairies, one of those bee hives, a white box, the Langstroth boxes, those are the typical hives you can find. Middle of the summer, middle of a field, inside the hive with a bunch of bees, like that could get really hot. That might even be, close to 50 degrees Celsius if it's, 38 plus, add that on. So it does have a high heat tolerance, but it has its limits. And, there's always a time and a place for cooking with it or caramelizing it or that kind of thing. But just know that when we do, we lose some of that magic that honey has. So prefer to work with, good flower source, unheated or unpasteurized honey, and that'll be our base. And again, cultures around the world have used it in different ways. Who has been to India or knows of Ayurveda and this idea of the Chyawanprash? And hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, Cyrene. Yeah, there's different variations on it in terms of how it's spelt, but Chyawanprash is almost, well, it is, I don't want to say it is almost, it is a daily tonic. And it can have anywhere from 3 to 150 different ingredients in it. Typically herbal, right? So it's very nutritive. And you can, depending on the formula of those 3 to 150, or you could go even more if you wanted, will determine the function. The flavor will be nice and sweet. It's almost described as like a jam. So flavor, we can play with different herbs, but we're going to have a nice base of sweetness because who doesn't love sweet? The function, what is the function, right? Is it like, oh, tickle in the throat, I need, like, where's my herbal honey? Or is it that first date or anniversary? We want to add a little bit of that in, right? Some aphrodisiacs. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the function of our medicine we're taking for that day. You get to choose. Maybe it's to calm yourself at night. Nice kind of relaxing herbal honey. Maybe it is a psychoactive journey you're going on. A lot of it could be, I don't know, what are you after? This is a choose your own adventure. Ancient cultures, especially in Mesoamerica, working with the psilocybin mushrooms, finding a fresh mushroom, they would often put it into honey to preserve it. Now it becomes psychoactive. Better be careful in how much you take. And then the third F, when we're talking about the alchemy of your own herbal creations, be it chocolates, elixirs, or herbal honeys, flavor, function, feeling, right? What's the feeling that you want from the ingredients you're putting in? So let's start with a couple of, yes. Oh, okay.
Piece of crystallized.
Totally. Okay. Thanks, Donna. And I'll just repeat all the questions and comments for those online. So yeah, when I said a seed honey, it's literally creamed honey, already that consistency, not seeds of any type of plant. Yeah. So you put that in, and then all those crystals begin to form in the same way as the seed. Yeah, the seed honey. Thank you. And I've got my comments, questions online too. Okay, so Ayurvedic, the Chyawanprash. So it's typically honey, number one. Number two, they will often add ghee, clarified butter. Now, this is your choice. You can have just a honey base, or you can have a honey and a fat. And maybe that fat maybe has some protein in it, like a nut butter or whatever you want. Could be coconut oil if you want to keep it more plant-based. But at least in the Ayurvedic tradition, typically it's honey, ghee, and then they'll add something called amla berry. And amla berry is a fruit that's very, very, very high in vitamin C. It has a whole host of other herbal benefits. And it's kind of the main staple herb in each one of the formulas, regardless of wherever they'll take the direction of that particular formula. Amla is the base. Anything you want to add, Cyrene? Okay, great. Yeah. Oh, really interesting. Right. Okay, amazing. Okay, so amla berry, Cyrene was sharing, one of the highest sources of vitamin C of any botanical. And there's a number of different plants around the world that we can look to that are very high vitamin C. Amla is right up there. And I had not heard this is amazing, that it's got a heat stable form of vitamin C. Amazing. So yeah, whether you're putting it into a hot tea or kind of cooking things in the process, it will retain that. That's amazing. Cool. Then they'll add any number of spices, and again, we could go through the whole list of the Ayurvedic herbs, right? Like Shilajit or Brahmi, or I mean, you name it, and that can get added in. And don't be overwhelmed that you think, oh, I gotta know about all these herbs and 150 different ones. What my ratio is going to be. This is mix and match. Choose your own adventure. Ashwagandha, yes, Shatavari. There's so many good ones that you can put in. And I like to, choose something like ashwagandha because, considered a tonic, an adaptogen. It's non-specific. It will help, increase the vitality of the body overall. Yeah, safe to take every day. So we got some ashwagandha here. Here's an example of a company locally that's doing something similar. So they're calling it Sunshine in the Cup Spiced Immunity Honey. So it's raw honey, goji berries, turmeric, cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, cloves, nutmeg, cayenne, black pepper. Great. Nice little formula there. You can choose your own adventure. I'm going to go ahead and work with Camu. And I'm going to use this one as the base. And I'll just read a little bit off about the benefits of Camu. And this comes from a guy named Dr. James Duke. Let me just find the page here. Similar properties to amla. And oh yeah, great question. So once we've got this honey made, or this Chyawanprash, what can we do with it? And the answer is anything. So Donna was mentioning, like, yeah, stir it into tea, put it on toast, blend it into an elixir, eat it right off the spoon. And I think that's what a lot of people will do with the Chyawanprash. It's just eat it off the spoon. Tastes great. Boom, you got all your herbs, all your nutrients. It's like a daily multivitamin herbal all in one little paste. And yeah, and you can make it for anybody. Could be for your grandmother, could be for your kids, could be for your husband. You're secretly feeding him all these good herbs. Holy basil. Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah. Yes, I love the ideas. So holy basil, another amazing one to add in. Okay, so Dr. Duke, amongst hundreds of herbs listed Camu. So this is very similar to amla, very high vitamin C. So it's not just a fruit, it is a herbal medicine. And of all these different actions, he listed it as in the following order amongst hundreds of herbs. He cataloged them all their properties, all their benefits. And here's what he said about Camu. So anti-mutagenic, it was his number 4 herb. Antioxidant, number 4 herb. Antiviral, number 6. Asthma, number 1. Atherosclerosis, number 1. Cataracts, number 1. Colds, number 1. Depression, number 2. Edema, number 1. Gingivitis, periodontal disease, number 1. That'd be a good combo. Gingivitis, we already heard about honey. Now we got the Camu. You mix those two up. Maybe you put in some ghee for that vitamin K2, the fat soluble vitamins. I mean, boom. Glaucoma, number 1. Hepatitis, number 1. Infertility, number 1. Migraine headaches, number 1. Osteoarthritis, number 1. Painkiller, number 1. Parkinson's disease, number 1. That's pretty good list. Hopefully nobody has all those conditions, but preventative as well as. All right. Okay. Super simple. Let's not get too carried away. Well, there's a very short class that we got, not a ton of time. So let me start making some recipes here so then we can serve up samples. We're going to do 3 different honey recipes and we'll let you taste them all. So, you might just be making, in the beginning, maybe it's just a small little sample jar. Like, let's just try this out, make sure I'm going to use it, enjoy it. Maybe you don't want to go, do a bunch of different formulas. So however much honey you've got appropriately, you can add the number of herbs. If you want to get strategic about, okay, well, I want to make sure I'm getting at least a teaspoon of Camu per day. I'm going to make a 10-day supply, then you better put in 10 teaspoons. Like, you can think about it like that, or you can just think about it like, all right, a couple tablespoons, stir that in. Now this is just Camu. What else could we put in here? You could do just purely a medicinal mushroom honey, right? So you get these medicinal mushroom powders, the extracts, stir that into honey. I think we will make an andrographis honey. just so you can see, yeah. All right, well, this will be the Camu one. Obviously, I've only got 2 ingredients, but you can and you are invited to put in lots more.
Would you better to use liquid honey or
Oh yeah, really good question. Yeah, liquid honey is best just to be able to get it stirred in. So if you have a creamed honey or if you have one that's crystallized, you're just gonna put the jar in the microwave. No, you're not. You're just gonna put it into a double boiler. So, into a hot bowl of water, and that will gently liquefy the honey. And now you're ready to stir things in. Okay, if I had more time, I would get more creative. Maybe the other thing I'll do for this one in particular, so there's other ingredients. So you can put in fats, you can put in any kind of herbal powder or extract, fruit powder, greens powder, you name it. We'll talk about all these different variations. Only thing you don't want to put in there is water, right? Because we mentioned that honey is perfectly preserved by the bees taking that nectar, fanning it down, dehydrating it to the right exact moisture percentage. If we're to add moisture, like maybe I want to put in a hydrosol, right? It sounds good. I can pour some of that in, but now I've given this a shelf life. But if I'm only putting in dried powders, it'll still continue to last forever, no problem. Essential oils actually work. So this is really nice. Camu is a very, very tart berry. So we got the sweet, we got sour. I'm going to add some essential oils. Essential oils mixed in, no problem. So this is tangerine, and I'll do a little bit of ginger. And this ginger is very thick and very fiery. There we go. Starting to come out now. We won't put too much of that in, but we'll put some of that in. And then we'll put in some cordyceps mushroom. So this is camu, cordyceps, tangerine, and ginger. And we'll mix that up and we'll see what you think. All right. Oh, great question. So the consistency can be anything, like obviously the more powder you put in here, like if we went about putting 150 herbs in there. Of course, not all would I put 2 or 3 tablespoons. You got to think about what are your kind of core master herbs and what are just more support. But the more you put in there, the thicker it's going to get. There's no right, no wrong. I'll show you on this next one how you can do something with a very, very thick honey. And the goal is to actually just continue to add herbs to it until it's actually very, very thick. So let's have a wee taste of this here. I'm sure it's delicious. But I still got that andrographis in the back of my throat. It's so bitter. Okay, so everybody's got a little taster. We'll pass that around and you can have a little taste of that. Okay, so that's a great question. It leads to the next tradition and method, which in Chinese medicine, these are little herbal pills. And a friend of mine, we made these for a class. Donna, you might have been there. Yeah, was that 10 years ago? I don't know how long that ago, but I found these in my cupboard. And wife's like, you still have those? Yeah, it was hands-on. So it's like a little herbal pill that is literally just powdered herbs and honey, same process, but you add it so much that it gets really thick. And then what you can do is you can take that and you kind of like, roll it into a little log or something like that, but then you roll it into tiny little pills. And these ones are also coated in licorice root powder, or you can roll them in other powders. And then you can have these kind of individual little pop them in your mouth, eat them like that. The honey preserves it. This is like 10 years old, still good. I don't know what I'm serving you. So.
Those are also good to take traveling or plane or traveling somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And just take one of those and keep it like that, or you can drop it into a cup of water and make it.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So Donna remembers Yarrow talking about these. They're great for traveling, right? You can be in a jar, they can be in a little plastic bag, something like that, depending in your pockets. You don't have to take all your herbs. Well, I'm only going for 3 days. I'm going for 10 days. I can't take my entire apothecary with me. But you can. in these little herbal honey pills. And unfortunately, I know from experience, that stupid rule about 100 mils or less. Yeah, honey, they consider it a liquid. It's like, no, but it's a food. I know it's liquid, but what if it was creamed? I had one that was creamed. They're like, no, you can't do it. And it was like, okay. And it was a very special honey. I spent $55 US buying this honey, and I didn't want to check a bag. And I was like, oh, I better eat it then. I got there about half the jar, and I was like, whoa. I couldn't waste it though. Yeah. They won't let jams. Yeah. Right? Yeah, just lathered it. Like, all right, you want some medicine? Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I should. We got some time. I got enough time. Let's try and get a consistency like that. And, flavor, function, feeling, maybe something you might want to try is, I know it's, this is like the original lozenge, right? In that regard. So yeah, you can chew them and like swallow them. You can dissolve them into tea, or you can just kind of like, suck on it, and you're getting the honey, you're getting the herbs, just coating your throat. So sore throats, or even, like Ramona and her journey, like the digestive system, marshmallow roots, slippery elm, very soothing, and they help coat the throat. We could add that in. Other thing we can add in, oh, here it is here. Another incredible food of the hive is bee propolis. Very antimicrobial. I got the list here. Bee propolis, gathered from the resins of trees. And it is also great topically, but very, very medicinal, antibacterial, vulnerary, antiviral, antibiotic, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-allergenic, immune system enhancer, antiseptic, and similar to honey, retains those properties year round for years and years. Now, this is a tincture, so there's some liquid, but it is primarily an alcohol base. So it's something that can mix in to your herbal honeys. And if anybody's ever had bee bread can often be a combination between honey and bee pollen mixed together, and it almost kind of ferments, and it makes it very nutritious, very digestible. We could do bee pollen, propolis, and a little kind of whole hive mix. For this one, the function here we're going for is that sore throat, right? Something to kind of like soothe the sore throat, and hopefully prevent it maybe in the first case. But if not, we can work with some remedies here. So honey, propolis, and then the marshmallow root, slippery elm, anything like that. So again, we got to put in quite a bit of the herb. Mix that up. And yeah, okay. This is just one of those things where you're adding in enough powder, and this could be a mix of powders, but I'm just doing it really quick with some marshmallow root, just to show you that consistency where there's just more powder than honey, and the honey's like just at its max capacity to be able to mix together with it. And then that gives you a sticky enough ball that then you can work with it and then begin to roll it. And the outside's still a little bit sticky, but we got a nice little ball there. And then I could take another herb like ground licorice or more slippery elm or marshmallow, roll it in that, and then you just let them dry out. And then the surface dries, and literally they'll last forever, just like that. So great for kids, great for yourself, for travel. Tastes really good. Okay, so that is propolis, honey, and marshmallow. I love propolis. Definitely reminds me of the trees and the forest. The balm of Gilead from the poplar buds, that sticky resin is where the bees are gathering the propolis.
Carry a propolis honey here.
We do carry a propolis honey as well. Yeah, and that's a real easy way to get it in. Yeah, actually mixed in. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So you can go ahead and use the other side of your spoon if you want to give that a try. I'm not going to go ahead and like mix those into little balls for everyone because that would take too long. One last method to work with honey as a delivery system for herbal medicine. And this came from a man with Romanian background. And we were just on a plant walk yesterday, and he asked me about sea buckthorn. You know, where he comes from in Romania, he says, you know, everybody uses it and it's everywhere, right? They recognize the value, the benefit of this just little tiny little fruit packed full of vitamin C. I like to call this as like, it's like the orange of the north. Incredible properties, and they'll consume it as like a daily tonic. And how they consume it, this is in the frozen form, and it's thawed now, so they're going to be quite juicy. We're going to mix this with honey, but it is going to have a bit of a shelf life because of that liquid base, but it's going to be delicious. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to take some of those berries. There's a lot of extra juice, so I'm just going to kind of, you could do with this with fresh, or you can do with the frozen that are thawed. And these things are amazing. Sea buckthorn berries. You know how you like sometimes middle of the day, you're like, oh, I'm a little tired. I could just nap. You taste one of these and bing, you'll be like instantly awake. It's got, and not from a stimulant perspective, but just from a vibrancy of the vitamin C, and just that tartness will just wake you right up, enliven your day. Okay, so what they do in Romania, he was telling me, is they mix honey and sea buckthorn, you know, just in this fashion. And then they leave that on the counter. And then every day they just reach into the jar and have a nice big spoonful. And again, like a little daily tonic. It will ferment a little bit. Yeah, for sure. So this one will ferment a little bit because we have that liquid moisture. And let's give this a try. You get your ratios right. Oh, amazing. So good. We could even do a little bit more sea buckthorn in there. Now they do have some seeds in there, so you'll notice a little bit of a crunch from the seeds, but yeah, delicious. All right. So this one, we might actually pass around spoons, actual spoons. Yeah, just because it's not really gonna work to get some in there. Okay, it's just the water stain. There we are. Okay, let's give it a sample. Oh, okay. So Corey online says the Mexican dream herb and honey, right? So yeah. Yeah, Corey, let us know what's the name of the Mexican dream herb in honey. Yeah, but maybe it's Damiana. There's blue lotus you could put in there. Mugwort. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm sure the ideas are percolating of what you could put in honey. It's a fantastic delivery system, and it's delicious. Cool. Okay, I've got to switch over the camera because this is about to die on the battery, but what questions do you have? It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I'm jumping in for Ashley Kozak, who was supposed to talk to you about how to sustain your energy, boost your immunity, and nourish your body. But I think we got there, hey? Did we achieve the same objective? Yes, all right. Cool. Well, we're gonna take a little break, and then back at the top of the hour, our last two presentations, you're in for a real treat. Yes, we have Alex Hamilton